Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Chicken Box, brought to you by the Afro. I'm your host, Jay. Listen, today we have a wonderful conversation with two members of the United Way of Central Maryland. If you recall, we interviewed some folks from the United Way just a couple of weeks ago as well. So this one is on mentoring minds, building futures, and the United Way's education revolution. So on today's show, we have Tammy Mays. Tammy N. Mays is the Associate Vice President of Education for the United Way of Central Maryland, where she advances educational initiatives and partnerships to enhance regional educational outcomes. Previously, she served as Director of Appointments for Governor Wes Moore, overseeing appointments to the state's board and commissions. Tammy has held leadership roles, including Housing Stability Director for Baltimore City's Mayor's Office of Children and Family Success and Senior Associate at Insight Education Group. Her extensive experience in education includes serving as a school administrator and co-designing Baltimore City Schools' first P-Tech program. Hi, Tammy. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Excellent. And so I'm also going to bring on William Jernigan, who for the past year, William Jernigan has served as a senior director of the United Way of Central Maryland's Young Men's United program, a native of Baltimore City and a true advocate for underserved populations and communities. Mr. Jernigan has a heart to serve children and youth. Before he arrived at United Way of Central Maryland, Mr. Jernigan served in various leadership capacities in the United States Department of Justice, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, Maryland's Governor's Coordinating Offices, Baltimore City Government, Maryland State Government, and more. So thank you, Mr. Jernigan. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. So I apologize if the stream is a little off. We're having a little bit of technical issues. So let's get right into it. Thank you too for both joining us. Listen, many people understand sort of how the United Way works in maybe broad terms, but we're specifically talking about United Way's sort of work in education very specifically here. Can either one of you speak to sort of the broad strokes of what you guys are calling this education revolution that's going on? Tammy?
Well, I think in all areas, education is something that we definitely need to uplift. And here at United Way, we take this seriously. So we have taken an intentional role in making sure that we are playing a role in our community and abroad to make sure that we are upholding the fundamental values that United Way has when it comes to uplifting communities through education.
Okay. And William, what are your thoughts on this sort of education revolution that you guys are working on?
I really wholeheartedly agree with the initiative and the work that's taking place at the United Way Central Maryland. Very intentional and it's very strategic as you learn more about the Young United program, and we're just very grateful to serve in this capacity alongside these amazing individuals that really understand the needs and barriers that young children face here in the Baltimore metropolitan area.
Okay. Is this system, is this designed as sort of a supplemental to education? Like, how does that work and by all means, go into sort of details here. Are these programs that kids can access or young people can access sort of outside of school, or is this boosting up, sort of the current school curriculum by, funding? How does this exactly work?
I can start. Well, at United Way, we work to advance education opportunities for all by breaking down barriers in education. Our programs serve young people from infancy through high school and beyond. We make sure that children living in underserved communities have equal access to quality education. We're putting more people on paths to learning and feeding their curiosity. We're making sure that they're earning diplomas and achieving their dreams. Our education work includes many programs. As William noted, Young Men United is one of our premier programs where we guide young men of color toward college and career success. We also have community schools. We also have family centers. But let me make a special note about our community schools. Our community schools are unique places because we serve as a supportive resource to meet student, family, and community needs. We're essentially a hub where we take every resource that United Way have and we place them in the schools and the communities that we serve. Our family centers are the exact same way. We support young parents so that they can finish high school and build positive futures. So that's the approach that we're taking when it comes to education.
Okay. Now, I'm very interested in what these programs, like, what have you seen sort of an outpouring from the school systems that are in need of these? Are you hearing from parents, or how did United Way decide that, okay, we need to be here as sort of to help buoy the education system for kids who are in, underserved populations and things like that? I mean, I think we obviously know that, but I'm interested to know, how did United Way get kind of pulled into that sort of very specifically?
Well, you know that United Way is already a trusted partner in many different facets. So as partners, we actually are talking to communities and we're asking, what can we do for you? How can we be of service? And education, when it comes to community schools and family centers and programs like Young Men United, these are direct asks from the communities that we serve. We've heard from our partners, and they say, we need something specifically for young men of color. What can we do? They said, we need programs that provide mentorship. We need programs that provide workforce development. We need programs that provides exposure. So that's how we've answered that call through Young Men United. When it comes to community schools, we're in the schools. Many of us have children that attend schools in the areas that we serve. So we know, and we take assessments. What is it that you need? What type of needs does this particular community need? Okay, we need to make sure that we have housing stability. We need to make sure that we have rental assistance. These are all resources that United Way have, and we make sure that our communities have access. So that's the important thing, is access.
Yeah, that's actually a really powerful point. I want to ask you about sort of, you touched on something that I think is deeply important, which is education is not just, do they have the right books? Do they have, even just like, do they have microscopes or facilities to do the learning? But there's so many sort of sort of cascading issues, right? Even something as simple, and maybe some people have realized this, I think a lot of people have eventually, is, making sure kids have lunch. Mm-hmm. Right. Make sure they have breakfast and things like that, where they did not have those things, or, they have food insecurities and things like that. And it's clear the United Way is also sort of using their broad strokes that they do help people in all walks of life, even in this as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Education provides the knowledge, skills, and critical thinking abilities required to succeed throughout life. It helps create a skilled and innovative workforce that powers strong local economies. However, inequalities and challenges that persist across generations prevent many young people from realizing their full potential. But through our programming here at United Way, we're able to level the playing field so that every child, regardless of where they live or even any circumstances that they may have come across, have the opportunity to succeed.
Excellent. William, I'm going to go to you for a second here. Can you give us some details? I think this is probably one of these sort of programs that I think people have been desperately wanting and are hoping that you get more of these. This Young Men's program. How did you get involved in that? What are you guys doing very specifically? Like, I want you to super talk about this in as much detail as you can, because I think we are really seeing a moment where, young men, especially young Black men, are sort of being left by the wayside in a lot of ways. And I think they need to be helped just as much as anybody else, if not maybe even more.
Yeah, thank you. I start by saying that that's a very well-rounded question, and something that actually is driven by due to my personal experiences growing up here in the city of Baltimore. My educational experiences, the opportunity to be a successful student early on, even up into the 10th grade of high school, but facing a lot of challenges, adversities, and barriers that significantly impacted me. And oftentimes my teachers weren't able to understand what I was going through, even like school leadership and so forth. I was dealing with a lot because I was forced to be resilient. And oftentimes our young people are put in spaces where they get, misjudged, mistreated, and then people really try to tell their story. But if you get the chance to actually hear their stories, you understand that they're dealing with some dynamics and some adversity that even some adults wouldn't be able to handle or put in their shoes. And so our young people are faced with a lot of things that they're oftentimes not able to uplift or share. And so it's our job to be their voice. And so the Young Men United program, I've been here for just a little over a year, serving alongside Tammy. We both have the heart to do this work. We both know the dynamics, and we both know the narratives that's actually placed amongst these young men. And so it's our sole job to holistically and authentically serve them, because we know that they have a ton of gifts that the world have yet to see. And so this program is very vital, meaning that it provides a comprehensive program. And so I will give a disclaimer that there are other renditions of the Young Men United program or other spaces. I'm not going to mention much about the others, but what I will say is this program is pretty much 4 programs wrapped into one. Think of wraparound, 101. Think of intensity that could actually really create change and generate hope for our young people. So the first component of the program is mentoring. Mentoring at a space that's actually provided to our young people in a grassroots setting, and also inside of their schools. We also have college and career exploration that takes place, giving them opportunities to take them outside of the Baltimore area, to get them exposed to various careers, various campuses, so that way they can see themselves in these spaces and really understand that they can do it. And then we also have academic support and planning. And so it could be condensed to tutoring, but the ability to really look at our young people to say, hey, what do you need? Because the school day can be very fast, very complex, and oftentimes they can kind of diminish without really having their needs met. And so we have intentional efforts to provide those services as well. And the last one that we provide, which Tammy mentioned, is very vital, is our career and workforce development. And so the opportunity to really it's not our goal to get kids jobs. We're not right. In the business of doing that. We're making sure that their needs are met, so that way they can get the careers that we know they deserve. And so one of the biggest components to the program is to address the equity gap for our young men, and specifically in this region. We know that there's an increase and influx of things that's actually coming about. And we want to make sure that our young men are prepared, not to just actually, navigate life, but we want to make sure that they're able to thrive. And so we believe with these 4 components that they'll be more than willing and able to do so. But then we also have another piece, which is very vital, and is done by our team here at the United Way of Central Maryland. We have 2 amazing Young Men United managers by the name of Lawrence Williams and Mark Bird, 2 seasoned leaders who've been around the field, various as it relates to school leadership, but then also as it relates to like community empowerment, who bring a wealth of experience and a wealth of knowledge to this space. And it's their job and even mine to actually really find a way to make this an inclusive experience by engaging the families. Oftentimes we know that some of our children's, our young men, families might not have had successful experiences or successful school outcomes. Some of our students are even becoming first generational high school graduates, but even also first generational college students. And so we have these moments where we're looking at our young people from a totality of empowerment. And it starts with the families, because we want to make sure the families are thriving, then our youth will be successful.
Excellent. Thank you for that. No, that's good. I'm glad your tech issues are solved so that you can say that. Good.
Yeah, it's been a struggle.
Yeah, no worries. Look, hey, anything worth doing is going to be a little bit of work. So no, I think that's really, really key. And I think what you're doing, both of you guys, the work that you're doing, I think the work the United Way of Central Maryland is doing in general, I think it's incredibly powerful. But I want to touch on something, and I want to touch on something that you said that really rung out to me, which is asking a question to these young men: what do you need? Right? Because oftentimes I feel like when these programs come about, it's y'all sit down, I'm going to tell you the things that you need to do as a person of experience. Y'all don't have any experience. Let me just, sort of 1950s, we open your head up, we dump a bunch of information, close it, and send you on your way type of thing, right? But that question of what do you need, I think actually not only gives these young men a level of humanity, but it treats them as if they deserve respect, which they obviously do. They're people. And you cannot solve the problem by assuming that you know everything, because it is in fact a two-way street. Like your program gets better, these type of programs get better by understanding the people that you're serving, and they do better by getting the stuff that they actually need. So when you're asking, what do you need? I don't know, man, put that on a placard or something, because that's exactly the right question, in my opinion.
Right.
So I am curious, have you guys, you've been there, William, you've been there for a year. Tammy, how long have you been doing this work exactly?
Probably a year and a half. I came up just before William arrived.
Okay, so you guys, all right, you guys are rookies together. Fair enough. But not in the whole game, but just here in Central Maryland. So I guess my question to you is, have you seen already in that year, have you seen sort of big turnarounds, or what kind of feedback are you getting, sort of real world feedback from people who've gone through these programs, or just like you're seeing it, just observing it, or like what's your feedback? How do you see that?
I'll let William go. William, do you want to go ahead and share what we've done in the last year?
Yes. One of the biggest things is very important in evaluating successful programming is data. And so we have the ability to look at this thing from two different ways. Oftentimes entities can look at it from one. Quantitative data can show you numbers, but qualitative data can show impact. And so what we have been able to do is to actually indicate both. For example, our recent graduating class of the 43 young men, 32 actually maybe coming up another who actually in the gap year is going to be entering college, who are already there now. So those numbers exceed the national data for young men, specifically for this population who are entering the college space, especially when it's declined nationally. But then also the youth who are not entering college, because we know that college is not for everyone. The young men are stepping into vocational and training career programming that they're walking into, earning money while they're earning finances while they learn, and experiences that's going to allow them to actually get certified to actually build a career. And so the bulk of the program is that from the numbers that you look at as far as the quantitative aspect, the amount of young people that we're serving, the amount of young people that we're planning to serve, including this school year. But what I really wanted to touch base on the qualitative numbers. And so when you talk to our young leaders, you'll learn, we did a recent survey, 100% of our participants said that since enrolling in the program, they now have a better educational experience. Not 50, 100% said, I feel better in my school space. I feel like I can accomplish things because I'm actually enrolled into this program that's very supportive and, it's been uplifting me. And then also 100% said that self-confidence has increased since enrolling into the program. And so I can go a little bit more further. We have a lot more of those kind of points, but that shows the qualitative aspects of things. But then also, if you talk to our young men, they'll be able to share with you a recent news report came out, and one of our young men actually shared how his GPA increased from just under a 2, maybe like a 1.8, and now it's actually up to like a 3.4. And this young man is now saying he has college aspirations. He now know what he wants to do. And then another young man is actually sharing with us, you know what? I came into this program not really understanding what I was getting into. I just really got in it just for the sake of, because one of my friends was there. He said, but this is the best thing that ever happened to me. He said, because now I feel like a young man. This program is right. Y'all call it Young Men United. He said, since I've been here, I now feel like I'm a young man. And to see him exude that confidence, not just to share it with me and our team here, but to share it on the news, he believes that. And we believe that as well. And so that's what this program has definitely changed lives. And we have a ton of stories that we can share. And if you do, I got another one. One of our young men, just to really highlight how impactful this program has been. One of our young men actually met a barrier. He became a father. In many instances, when I was in school, I watched my peers drop out of school. I watched peers go start working. This young man who actually lost his, he didn't have to go to all of those different things. He almost lost his utilities in his home before his child first came into the home. The agency was able to address that barrier and challenge, keep that family in a sustainable place through our supports and financial supports as well. But the young man feels like it's not his journey alone. He's talking to his mentors. He's talking to the managers. we're actually providing him like upkeep and things of that nature, specifically what we expect of him as a young man, but also as a father. And so this young man is not just navigating life. He's actually thriving on a college campus right now while still being a father in the same hometown as his child. So this program has made some very monumental impacts, and I just wish it was available when I was in school in high school in the 90s.
Yeah, no, look, those are amazing stories. And I feel like people often just assume that, especially with young Black men, well, you became a father, you weren't doing good in school, toss you by the wayside, let's just keep moving on, right? Like that's somebody else's problem. But in order to have a functioning society and to have a functioning community, we can't let these folks fall by the wayside. And it sounds like this is the exact type of program that people are often like, where are these kind of programs? It's like, they're right there. They're the United Way of Central Maryland. You guys are doing it.
Absolutely.
And that idea of just somebody going in and saying, I have more confidence in school because I assume they are being seen and that they're being told that you matter. And here we pardon my French, damn about you, is so powerful that sometimes even those simple things can make drastic changes to somebody. They go into school and be like, you know what? People do care about my education. I'm gonna put forth effort when I go there and try to make things happen.
Absolutely. And Jay, can I also add that through our family centers, that's exactly what we do. So under the education umbrella, not only are we making sure that we have programs specifically for young men of color, we're also making sure that we're taking care of our young women that also have children. Through our family centers, they get support. We make sure that they attend school every day. Where necessary, we provide transportation. We provide food for the family. So what we do know that creating a sustainable ecosystem, and the ecosystem is at school, at home, at play, at work. We are there in every aspect of our young people's lives. Through our community schools, again, at the school level, in the community, it's a small hub of every resource that United Way of Central Maryland offers. Again, we are not just here to say, okay, we're just going to provide you academic support. We understand that the entire family has to thrive if we expect young people to thrive. So if there is workforce development that we need to provide for the family, we provide that resource. We are a dedicated and organization that weaves together academics, health, social services, youth development, and family engagement. We do all of these things under the education umbrella.
Excellent. I think that sort of multi-prong approach is what really works, right? Sort of, if you're boosting up what a family needs as far as transportation, food security, to William's point about making sure utilities are supplemented if they need that type of help. That's such a powerful and helpful thing. But if that's the only thing you're addressing, and then the people in that home are not going to school, you just you hit back into the same cycle again, right? But if you actually take a multi-pronged approach and deal with education and family life and stuff like that, you can solve it. You can, largely, I don't want to say it's like a total panacea, but you can do such a good job in solving what that family is going through, and that can change for that next generation of kids that are growing up in that home, right? And so then maybe they don't need the United Way going forward. And I'm not saying we're trying to put you out of business, right? Obviously, there's plenty of people who need help, but I think ultimately you would love to be like, you know what? Everybody seems good. It turns out like we did our job, but that multi-pronged approach is I think that a thing that people are finally learning. Like, yeah, people have issues, and like it ain't just more than, it's not just here's some money and then you turn off and go good luck, right? You just close the door and they'll figure it out. It doesn't work like that. So I do want to ask, are there other? I know United Way is all over. Obviously, it's an international program. Do you guys sort of coordinate with other United Way offices about like how they're handling, probably specifically in the United States, about how they're handling sort of youth programs for Black men very specifically, or young Black women? Do you talk to them and you guys sort of like, okay, what ideas are you guys seeing in Chicago, or are you guys seeing in LA or something like that? Do you guys do that at all, or is it just sort of just in Maryland that you focus?
Absolutely. United Way Worldwide, we all get together.
Yep.
We understand that we're not by ourselves. So we make sure that we're not working in silos. We share with United Way across the world so that, again, if someone else has done it, if they already have a plan for it, we want to see what they've done. We take best practices and we move in that direction. We make sure that we're sharing because, again, we don't want to step on anybody's toes. We want to bring everybody to the table. And that's what United Way of Central Maryland does the best. So with our Young Men United program, this program is replicated in several different places, but we're just putting a spin on it based on the needs of our young people here in
Right.
Central Maryland. So every part of the country has a program very similar, but everybody has to address the specific needs of their own community. So yes, we do share. We share our resources, we share our practices, and we learn together. Because again, the only way that we'll overcome some of these things is to be able to share. The zip code may be different, but many of the same issues occur in many different places.
Excellent. Excellent. William, can you speak to any of that, of sort of the collaboration that you guys are doing?
Yes, I would definitely say that there's a lot of collaboration, and as Tammy mentioned, from a worldwide perspective, and just even myself, having the ability to engage with the other leaders who are providing, like Young Men United, has been like awesome. To learn what they're actually specific, their vision, their goals are, and even like what are the things that they're pushing forward, and also to learn like, hey, what have you been done, or what are you planning to do over the next like couple months? And so it's been very great to collaborate with them because oftentimes, as Tammy mentioned, the zip code is one thing, but we're looking at the totality of the impact of young men of color. This is a national issue. Like this is not a specific issue that's in one region or one city. This is a national issue that we know that young men of color has been facing, like school pushout, differential treatment, and various instances where we know that's been impacting them. And so, how do we really address it? Is we collaborate, and that's been one of the biggest things we've done.
Yeah. I remember hearing a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, there was a story of and just an idea of like how collaboration works, right? And taking ideas that work someplace else and making them work locally, where there is like in Dublin, Ireland, right? Like they had like major issues with young men just kind of being wayward, drinking too much, and like, just kind of basically screwing off and kind of making a mess of a lot of parts of society and their own lives, more importantly. And the country was like, okay, why don't we try some like wraparound services, kind of what you're talking about. And it made massive changes and really did like put people back in schools and education rates rose and things like that. Crime, went down, and without just being like, let's put people in jail or just not worry about them and let them fall through the cracks. And then they learned those things from companies and states in the US that had been doing the same thing. So it's like this idea of like, it is a national problem, William, that you're talking about that needs to be addressed. And it's interesting that we can learn from other people, from other societies and things like that anywhere in the world. It's like, we're all human beings and we all kind of end up running into similar issues eventually, right? If we're not careful. And so it's cool to know that not only do people look, inside the country and out, but you guys are dealing with other people in the United Way to be like, your city is having these specific issues. We're not. Here's how we did this. Here's how you guys did it. And then working on that to make everything, shore it up even better in Central Maryland, which I think is really kind of a great thing in the end. One of our listeners asked, you guys work with the 100 Black Men of America organization?
We're not tied directly with them at this time, although that is something that we are willing to do and we're looking to do as we move forward. As William shared, he's only been here a year. I've been here a year and a half. Our program is expanding. We're currently through Young Men United in 2 high schools, and we'll be expanding to a 3rd high school this academic year. So working with that organization is something definitely next on our list to pull in as a partner. One thing I also like to add is that when listening to our communities, we're also working with community-based organizations. So we're going straight to our communities we're looking for those trusted people in the community, and that's who we're bringing on board. So
Right.
yes, 100 Black men is definitely on our list of people to pull into this work.
Excellent. And are there other organizations that you're either working with now or that you're planning on working with, that sort of like besides 100 Black Men of America, ones that you're kind of like, we got to get over to these organizations because they're doing such great work and we want to get involved? Are there other ones that you're focused on as well?
Absolutely. So here in the city, Baltimore's Promise, they have taken the mantle and have really organized a lot of 501c3s, and to make sure that we're all working collaboratively. Here, we want to make sure that we're pooling our resources and not wasting anything, especially with our times now. We want to make sure that we're maximizing our impact.
Oh, I think we lost you, Tammy.
Had that before. This is a new initiative, and this is something that we want to make sure that we maintain.
Excellent. William, are there organizations that you've dealt with in the past, maybe outside of the United Way, that you would love to sort of bring into the fold and work with them again?
Yes, there's a few. Previously in my prior roles, I worked to address disparities in various systems, one being the juvenile justice, but even also the child welfare space. And so I came across a whole host of entities, social entities, who really do the work at the front end. And so we have a plan that's already been in place, and we're working to address those things. But what I want to do is actually make sure that I really take the time to really kind of add on what Tammy has already elaborated. We have some strategic partners here who are from Baltimore. We have strategic partners here who knows the dynamics. We have strategic partners here who have lived experience already, and they're actually making a great deal of impact. But we're always open to looking for those who can do the work to help us, because it takes a village. There's absolutely no way that we can do the work and the impact that we're making if we're trying to do it alone. This is a holistic approach, as I mentioned earlier, and we always honor this. The thing is, whoever comes on board with us, they have to share the same heart and passion for this work. And so that's how we represent ourselves. That's how we came at it. And we all know where we stand internally, but whoever want to come on board, lock arms with us and let's get to work.
Excellent. And how many young men do you have in this program currently?
So currently, right now, we have, first of all, I want to say this: we're going to serve our young men up until their age 24. I want to give
that was actually my next question. But go ahead.
So we have 43 students who just transitioned last year, and so we're going to be working with them up until their age 24. We're just bringing in just about 110 students for this school year currently, and so it's a pipeline. We have young men. I will say this: earlier we said that sharing the power. That's kind of what the narrative was. This program is growing because we have leaders who are doing the work. And by leaders, I'm also going to say our young men. We have a young men group who we pulled together as our ambassadors. It's our goal to have every last one of them as ambassadors of this program. This program is going to grow exponentially because we're sharing the power. We're utilizing their voice. We're uplifting their voice in the school settings. And now we're watching them actually go and recruit students. That took place at the last activity recruitment that took place at one of our school sites, where two of our students was walking around saying, "Hey, have you heard about Young Men United? That's the program I'm in. Remember I told you the group that's actually helping me? They get me the mentoring services. You remember that issue I was going through? I'm good now. It's because of them." And so we standing there quiet. And then the students say, "Okay, how do I sign up? How do I sign up, sir?" And so I believe that's the biggest piece that's taken next. Recruitment is going to be extremely easy because we actually have a program that's actually shared in power of the young people who are serving as the leaders. And so we got a waiting list, and we're going to keep building, and we keep building. And I'm excited. I got chills while I was talking about it. And I'm just excited about the work that we're doing and what's to come. This is only the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's powerful. I really do. It's curious. Okay, so you said that you work with them all the way through 24. So you're talking post college if they end up in college, or they're well into what I would argue is their journeyman's sort of level if you're doing vocational stuff, right? Whether it's electrician or plumbing or something to that regard. Is why 24? Is that a very specific time frame that you guys thought was like this is just enough time to be like, and now you're out of the nest and you can do it, or what is it a financial constraint? I'm just curious as to why it's that age, or why not sooner, or what have you.
Well, again, Jay, you know, we base everything on best practices.
Sure.
So we realize, again, if we create that ecosystem starting when kids enter high school, every person that we know that have been successful, if they've had that support at that level, again, we're trying to show them how to maintain, how to build on their own success. So just during that period of time with the extra support. So it's about that ecosystem. It's about, again, the academic support. It's about the youth enrichment. It's about the health and wellness. It's about the community and family engagement. It's about that college readiness. So from the 10th grade up until that 24-year age range, that's the period of time that when we put these proper supports in place, we're teaching them how to survive. We're teaching them how to sustain. And there has been tons of data to support that just around that age group, if we're giving that support to families and to young people, the likelihood of success is there.
Excellent. I figured, but I wanted you to say it. That's good. I mean, I do think just keeping people with a sense of support and normalcy through those years, they just start to kind of figure it out. And then that's just right around the time that because at 25, you're technically like a real mental adult. And, you know, it's a perfect time to be like, all right, now you got it. Like we've been doing it. You got it on your own. So that's great.
And we're always here. So they know they can always come back to us because we'll be here as a safety net and someone to talk to.
Excellent. At this point, what I'd like to do is we'll do our get on the box sort of situation, which is I'm going to allow you guys to talk about what you want to take away from this conversation. There's so much. Hopefully you can synthesize it down to like a minute. But I think your messaging is incredibly powerful, and your program, I think, is doing nothing but good. So I will go first, and then I'll pass it to you, Tammy, and then we'll end with William. Look, I think that the ideas of these sort of wraparound services and helping young people with education and what have you as a supplemental to just the regular school system is paramount to getting people who are, as I said in William's bio, these sort of underserved communities, to get them to a point of not just equality, but an equitable sort of level, right? Because they don't need just what everybody else is technically getting. Sometimes they need more because they've started at a position that is below where other people have started a lot of times, which is unfortunate, but it is reality. So I appreciate that the United Way of Central Maryland and United Way in general is doing this equitable work, because I think equality is a thing that we talk about, but equitable work is what actually gets people really moving in a direction I think that's truly helpful. So I appreciate your work. I enjoy talking to other United Way folks before, and equally enjoy talking to you guys about your education revolution. So I appreciate your time. So I'm off the box. Tammy, I'll pass the baton to you.
Well, thank you again. This opportunity is well welcomed. I am thrilled to be here and thrilled to talk about the work that we do, and especially how education is weaved into the work at United Way of Central Maryland. I just want to stress that we have community schools. We actually are the lead agency for 6 community schools in Baltimore City. Our education program also prioritizes the connection that community schools have with partners in and out of the schools, which is extremely important because, again, if we want to serve as a true resource and hub in the community, we have to represent the community and understand the community. Also, through our community schools, we also provide family centers because we understand that, again, young people need to make sure that families are thriving. When families thrive, our young people thrive. Through those programs, we can have a program like Young Men United So all of our programs overlap. We can't have one in isolation. So that's the one thing that I'd like to share, is that nothing can be done in isolation. We have to take a holistic approach. And that's what United Way of Central Maryland has done through our community schools, through our Young Men United program, and through our family centers.
Excellent. And last but certainly not least, William.
Yes, the two key words that oftentimes come up in the midst of the work is intentionality and hope. Intentionally, our young people have been impacted by various structures of things that they've seen and things that they haven't seen, things that they might not know about because they could be historical or they could be systemic. But because we are there to support them, we know the lay of the land, and we're going to do our best to get them where we know they have the ability to be. And so it's our job, due to those intentions, is really to do it authentically in a way that's unapologetic. And so I'm very grateful for the opportunity to serve in this space, which comes to the second word of hope. One of the biggest things that actually can be provided, everyone's given talents, but oftentimes ability and opportunities are always kind of shifting a little bit. And I think what this program does is provide hope, opportunities to uplift the gifts of our young men. And it's our job to just really get on the way we know they can be, because I wholeheartedly believe the next mayor, the next governor, the next business owner, the next whatever they desire to be, it's going to come out of this program. And I always push all of them, because I say, hey, when I retire, I'll probably be down the road. I say, when you guys functioning with your awesome businesses, repay me by actually let me work part-time. But I'm just grateful to be in this space. And I'll stop by saying is that I really appreciate the opportunity to serve alongside our team here at the United Way of Central Maryland, and even Tammy as well. It's been a joy and an honor, and just grateful for what's going to take place moving forward. Excellent.
So thank you both for your time, and thank you guys for listening wherever you are in the world. So that is the end of this episode of the Chicken Box. We'll be back next week. So thank you, Tammy. Thank you, William. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.